Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of WST Sunday Live. My name's Hrabchak. In a moment, I'll be joined by my co-host, Lyss Houde. And I usually say good morning, but it's good afternoon here in Winnipeg. 12-18, we're firing it up as Canada just beat France 10-2 in their final game of the preliminary round. And now they move on to the games that matter, the elimination games. A lot of talk, I'm sure, today coming up about goal differential. This was... it was never a doubt that Canada was going to beat France, and they really needed to run up the score, and they did. They won 10-2, was the final. A lot of standout performances, a lot of numbers put up by all of these talented Canadian forwards. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about all three of Canada's games in the prelims, look ahead to, like I said, the games that matter most. And to do that, let's bring in my co-host, Lyss Houde. Lyss, how did you enjoy that one? I mean, you never think that game's going to be too close, but it was maybe frustrating for the first half as Canada just couldn't really score, or they were maybe overpassing a little bit. But once the floodgates opened, they opened, and a nice little 10-2 win.
Yeah, that's absolutely the type of game that it was. It was a matter of when, not if sort of situation in terms of Canada starting to rack up the goals near the end of the game. I definitely wasn't feeling great when France scored that first goal to kind of tie it up. I thought that, as the first period kind of went through and it was 0-0 and it's like, okay, like Canada just needs to kind of get one going here. I felt honestly the same watching the Canadian women's game yesterday, where it's like you need to get one, and then I feel like it starts to come a little bit after that. But the fact that the one was then followed by a goal by none other than Florian Douay, obviously, it's like you're like, oh my gosh, this can't be happening right now, right? So but then I think obviously it turned a corner in a couple of great ways. I think the Mark Stone shorthanded goal, I think, was the one that for me was kind of the TSN turning point of like, all right, let's get her going here. Doesn't matter what the situation is. That was a big one. And then obviously I think the one that, to me, in terms of the goal differential, obviously knowing what's on the table there and what's at stake, that made me feel kind of the most confident and was kind of the threshold I needed to cross was, in fact, the Celebrini penalty shot goal. So I think that the game definitely, now that you can look back on it, it's a 10-2 win. You're like, oh yeah, easy, no problem, never in doubt. But I definitely wasn't feeling as good in the first period as I was in the third.
Absolutely. And I think there was kind of the frustrating nature that I alluded to. I was texting with some people, you and I were texting. It was just like, you're playing France, so you expect to win 10-2, but you gotta get
the
there.
game should start 5-0.
Yeah, the game should start 10-2. It feels that way, right? So it's like when it's 3-1 and we're halfway through the second, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, can we pick it up? But eventually Canada broke through, and I love that you brought up the Celebrini penalty shot goal. There's so many great moments from Celebrini. This kid is an absolute stud. We're going to talk a lot about him. He has 4 goals in the tournament. A lot of records were set too in today's games that we're going to get to as well. And Canada, their goal differential, correct me if I'm wrong, Lyss, but I believe now it is plus 17, and USA is at plus 7. So USA
So
plus 17. Sorry, I misspoke. Not 19.
So yeah, a bit of kind
goal
of
differential.
Whatever. If Team USA wins their game today by 11 goals, they finish first in the thing. If they win by 9 goals or less, they finish second. So 10 is the question mark number, and that's like, okay, if they win 10-0, then Canada still wins. But if they win 20-10, then they finish ahead or whatever. But 9 goals is kind of the magic number that we need to look at, is my understanding.
Yeah, so plus 17 is Canada's goal differential. If USA wins by 10 against Germany, which is a tall task, Germany is not France. They have Draisaitl, Stützle, Seider, Grubauer in net. They have players. Then we can talk. But Canada did what they... Then we can
talk. It's not a guarantee if it's 10. 11's a guarantee that they finish first. 9 is a guarantee that they don't. 10 is then we can talk. But I think that just knowing what some of those players on Team Germany can do, and also knowing what's at stake, right? Like we saw what happened with Slovakia when they knew what the goal differential at stake was for Sweden and everything. I think that I don't foresee it happening,
Right.
but never say never. I'll definitely be tuning in just to make sure.
Yeah, and people are probably wondering, like, why is there so much talk about goal differential? Why does it matter? The one seed does matter for a lot of reasons. You get the best matchups, at least in the semis, it reseeds. But in the first matchups of quarterfinals matchups, it does not reseed. So there's going to be a quarterfinal play-in where teams 5 through 12, like 5 plays 12, 6 plays 11, and on and on and on, play each other. And then that first round coming out of it, it doesn't reseed. So the 2 seed is going to play the winner of the 7-10 matchup. And currently, I think locked into the 7 seed is Sweden. So if Canada didn't blow the... No, Sweden's 7.
Sweden's 7? Okay.
Because this whole 2 seed thing is about avoiding Sweden.
I don't remember what the actual number is. Yeah, I just know it's about avoiding Sweden.
It's about avoiding
Sweden. And
so,
Sweden will have to win their playing game. But yeah, whoever finishes second plays the winner of Sweden versus X. And probably is going to be Sweden, and you'd prefer not to play them in the quarterfinal if you don't have to.
Exactly. So if Canada didn't blow the doors off France today, and then USA did for Germany, then Canada might have slid to the 2nd seed, and then that play-in game, they don't reseed, and it's Canada-Sweden in the quarters, who, outside of the U.S., probably the 3rd best team in the tournament, or outside of Canada and the U.S., they slide in at number 3, probably the most talented team on paper in the tournament, so you definitely want to avoid them. So it's playing for the right matchups, all of those things, and Canada did what they needed to do. Let's get into this game and how they accomplished that. Again, a lot of great performances coming into the game. I wasn't sure if we would see the supercharged heart line that we saw to end the Switzerland game, which was Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon all on the top line. We talked a lot about that one coming out of that game. They put Tom Wilson back on the top line. Tom Wilson gets into a fight late in the game. We'll talk about that as well. But for me, Lyss, the star of today's show was Macklin Celebrini. 2 goals and an assist, one of which came on a penalty shot. He's 19 years old. He's already got 4 goals in the tournament. And I mean, Mike Johnston on the broadcast was talking about it, and I totally agree. Connor McDavid has found his international winger. Like we talked at the Four Nations, like, he couldn't really find chemistry with Stone, and Stone, we'll get to him in a minute. He was awesome today too. Marner, Ryan, Hart, they tried all these guys with Connor McDavid and nothing really clicked. It's clicking with Macklin Celebrini because his hockey sense, his forechecking ability, his passing ability, his ability to find open spaces in the offensive zone and use his release, which is all world, all of which is happening at 19 years old, is insane. Like, this kid might play in 6 Olympics for Canada. 19, 23, 27, 31, 35, 39. I don't know. But it's crazy, Lyss, what he's doing at such a young age and riding shotgun with Connor McDavid, and it's working as well as it is.
Yeah, I think the biggest question around Celebrini going into it, and I would like the record to show, I've never bought into this narrative, but it was a legitimate kind of conversation based in very little about the player beyond just the circumstance. And it was, will the moment be too big for Macklin Celebrini? Right? He's young, very inexperienced, all this different stuff. Nobody's holding that against him, but it's just, this is a scenario in which you need to be able to rise to the occasion. Does he have the, tenacity, the mental toughness, the experience to draw on to get him to that point? And it's one of those things that it's like, if you are looking at this as a concept where like a 19-year-old, all these different boxes that Macklin Celebrini checks, fair question, fair thing to flag or whatever, but nothing about anything that Macklin Celebrini has ever done in his career that I've been following since he was pretty young and, being touted as a future 1st overall pick kind of thing makes me think that he wouldn't be able to rise to the occasion. And it's been really nice to see that he's been able to have the impact that we were all hoping he would. Like, there are a lot of people that left him and Connor Bedard off of their preliminary rosters, right? Because of this fear, this kind of boogeyman that didn't really exist of like, will he be able to rise to the occasion, simply because he's young. And I think that he's showing that, he is doing everything in his power to be there in the moment and not just elevate his own game, but elevate Connor McDavid's game as well, which I think has been the biggest part of the whole thing.
Totally. And I think the moment in where the moment became not too big for Macklin Celebrini, that's a very poorly worded sentence, but this is the thing. The Switzerland game, and you see the quotes coming out, Drew Doughty, Macklin Celebrini takes a penalty. And it's like this 19-year-old kid at the Olympics takes a penalty. It's in the offensive zone. It's not a great one. And it's like, this is, you can tell running through his brain. He's like, crap, this is terrible. Like, and I think it was a 3-1 game.
I wonder if Sidney is going to be mad at me.
Exactly. Yeah. He's probably like, man, I'm messing up. Like the whole country's mad at me right now. And Canada kills the penalty. And this kid comes flying out of the penalty box, skates the full length of the ice, disrupts a Swiss player on the forecheck, steals the puck, gets it to McDavid, who takes it to the front of the net. McKinnon scores immediately. And it's like a 200-foot play where he looked to immediately make up for it coming out of the box, and he immediately did. And like, for me, that is the moment where it's like, he probably feels he belongs. Like he can score, he can do all these things, but like, he forechecks 200 feet the whole length of the ice, disrupts the puck, gets it to McDavid, and it's just clicking. And the PK had his back. Drew Doughty after the game is like, hey man, don't worry, you got the best penalty killers in Canada behind you. Like, I think Matthew Hyman brings up a good point. 197-foot play with the shortened rink. But man, like, I love it. And then today, the penalty shot. So the shift is 30, 40 seconds in the offensive zone. Celebrini's all over it. The puck gets cleared out, and he kind of hangs up at the blue line behind the France defense, gets there, gets to the breakaway, gets hauled down in the crease. And IHF rules, you can choose anyone for the penalty shot. And there's no question, Lyss. They're letting this kid go. There's no question.
Absolutely.
Like, he earned it. He's just had a 40-second shift. He's been one of your best players. Like, to go from what you said, like, oh, will the moment be too big? And I know the moment isn't big against France, but like, to go from this guy might not even be on the team because the moment might be too big for him, to there's a penalty shot that he just drew and there's zero doubt that we're not going to put McDavid or McKinnon out there. I love it. I love every bit. I love John Cooper letting him take it as he should. Absolutely. This kid's an absolute dog on the puck, and he is quickly skyrocketing up my favorite players to watch rankings across all of hockey. It's awesome. He's amazing.
I have two things to say, and you're gonna hate both of them. First one,
great.
This is so irrelevant, but I was so angry watching that penalty shot because of the choice of camera angle that they used on the broadcast.
You didn't like the sky cam?
I hate the sky cam. There was a shift before one of Canada's power plays this year. I was so mad.
The power play, I didn't like it.
I didn't know where that shot went.
The power play, I didn't like it. The penalty shot, I liked it.
I hated it. I really didn't like it. Okay. I was not a huge fan. And so that was one. And then number two, it's so funny. Like, I always make jokes here, with the Winnipeg Jets talking about different players where it's like, they don't need to be wearing jerseys with their name bars or numbers on them. The way they skate and the way that they kind of carry themselves on the ice is so distinct for every single player when you kind of like lock in and watch them as much as we do. And the same can be said for pretty much any player in the league if you watch them frequently enough. And I was trying to think when I was watching this game, I was like, obviously, like Connor McDavid, pretty much anyone who watches hockey doesn't need to see Connor McDavid's number to know by the way he like lifts his shoulders when he skates, the way he kind of keeps his neck high when like that, it's Connor McDavid doing that. I was like, I feel like Macklin Celebrini is starting to become one of the most like distinct skaters in the league in the way that he kind of conducts himself, especially in the ozone. Like, he kind of looks a little bit like his appendages are kind of flailing away from his body. Like, he's so like loose, and I don't know, he's just so neat to watch because he's kind of got a little bit of that McDavid, speed and gusto to him that everyone loves so much, and it's really cool to watch. And obviously it's something that we've all been keeping an eye on. And I know you watch a lot of Pacific Division hockey and stuff. Like, people have been watching, people have been locked in and tuning into what this player can do. Obviously he's in early heart conversations and everything like that, but yeah, man, it's so cool to watch all of the different components of his game that make him so fun. Jacob Stoller, I remember, said this to us, a couple games into Macklin Celebrini's rookie season, he called him a mini Crosby, right? And I think that that's a very, like,
good
he
take.
Doesn't, play on his backhand as much and all these different things. Like, there's a lot of differences in the way that they play, but also not really, like there's a lot of comparisons to draw. And if, I'm sitting here, a random person in Winnipeg on a Sunday afternoon show, drawing in the same monologue comparisons to Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby for you, it's a pretty good place to be in if you're Macklin.
Yeah, and like, Celebrini obviously is in the Hart conversation. Like, people know he's a great player. I think where the shock for me comes is the chemistry with McDavid. Like, we thought that this would be something that would work. You and I even talked about it going into the first game list, that they should try this because of the lack of chemistry from Four Nations with Connor McDavid. But I didn't think it would work this well. Like, these two know where each other are and they have this instant chemistry. And it's like, it's found money for Canada because, again, at the Four Nations, Connor McDavid had some incredible individual efforts, as he's doing right now, but he's also generating off the cycle, and like Tom Wilson's getting in on the action right now. So it's awesome. It's so awesome to watch these two cook. I can't believe like we're cheering for Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon on the same line. This is all so much fun. And yeah, Canada put up some crooked numbers today, courtesy of Advanced Hockey Stats. 10-2 the score, 46-14 the shots on goal, inner slot shots 12-5, slot shots 24-8. But you didn't need to look at the shot map to know that Canada was getting to the middle of the ice and really imposing their will offensively, especially in the second half of that game. And one person who, it wasn't in the 5-on-5 flow of play list, but you brought up earlier, a big goal in this game was Mark Stone. Short-handed goal, makes it 3-1 right at the end of the first period. Really nice play to steal the puck. And Mark Stone, not Connor McDavid in terms of like blowing away from guys, in terms of his skating speed, but he gets there, shovels it on the backhand. And then the first intermission goes by, and there's all this talk online about Mark Stone. And then later in the game, he steals a puck, gets it to Crosby, and Crosby tries to pass it backdoor, goes off a skate and in. But still, the luck was created from Mark Stone on the wall, stealing the puck, getting it to Crosby, all of those things. I love that there's this growing appreciation for Mark Stone amongst everyone right now, because, like, yeah, visually on the breakaway, you're like, man, like this guy looks slow, right? But all of the little stick checks, all of the little passes in tight areas, all of the defensive plays, it's almost as if Mark Stone is maybe the most elite defensive winger in hockey who's also playing at 120-point pace this year. Like, it's almost like, yeah, he skates a little funky and his stick looks weird when he skates, but he's an elite hockey player. He's awesome. Winnipeg's own Mark Stone. Great play in this game, and I thought he's been one of Canada's best forwards in the tournament, and I have no issue in saying that.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. I made a tweet at some point during the game where the baseline is high. This isn't like watching a regular, Winnipeg Jets game or any other NHL team where, the players that you're talking about, it's all in the context of, 1 of 32. Like, this is the best of the best. I totally get that. But acknowledging that, I think there's still, different players in these different teams that people are becoming a little bit more aware of, and not in, everyone knows that Mark Stone is good at hockey, but there are a lot of people that didn't have him on the preliminary rosters and stuff like that, right? It's a guy, and admittedly there are other guys that I'm the same way. I didn't have Bo Horvat on my roster. I think he's been awesome, and I think that and Waiters brings up the comment, I was going to bring that up about Mark Stone as well, talk about the vibes guy as well. I love the way that he's how many years into his NHL career and scoring goals, and his teammates scoring goals. He looks like his first ever. It's like the Sidney Crosby golden goal reaction to every single one that happens when he's on the ice. It's cinematic. I love it for him. But I think that this is something that we talked a little bit about last show, and we've been talking about offline as well. It's just the types of wingers that Canada has brought to this tournament, and the kind of versatile skill sets that they all have, where they are really good and really effective with the puck and away from the puck and in all three zones. And obviously that's a pretty blanket statement to make, but there have been Selke level conversations around pretty much all of Canada's high impact wingers, right? Marner, Stone, we talked about Reinhart, who's been a little bit quieter in this tournament so far, Hagel, who it was really nice to see kind of get on the board with one, because you want to talk about overarching storylines and things that you can take away from this kind of tournament. It was really nice to see a lot of different guys get on the board tonight, because you really want to start, getting these players their confidence up, feeling themselves, stick is hot, all this different stuff, while the stakes are still a little bit lower. The stakes tonight were about, getting the goal differential up to where you want it to be. It's not do or die hockey time yet. So I think it was nice to get a couple of those guys on the board. Obviously the Hagel goal ended up being an awesome one. I thought that I wasn't sure how I felt about what McKinnon was doing off the entry there. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. And then I was like, shut up. This is Nathan McKinnon. Like, Joe, what are you talking about? Work. But I think that it's really neat to kind of see the added appreciation that's being kind of put, at the forefront for a lot of these different wingers and a lot of these players who are having good tournaments so far. Everyone knows that Mark Stone is good at hockey. Nobody, I don't think, would ever argue with that, but it's nice to see kind of on full display, whether it's, the penalty killing that he is so excellent at, or all these different things that people are seeing it on this international stage, and you get to acknowledge and appreciate it in that context. Not everyone has a perfect opinion on every single player, because that's what makes hockey and, these conversations that you and I are having so fun. But it is cool to see a guy like that I think is probably the biggest contender for the hey, look at this, look at what he's doing, look at this guy, how did you not know kind of thing. And he's had an awesome tournament so far.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And that line has been great too. I've thought, they put it together to start. And again, the whole Mark Stone part of it all is we all looked at Stone, Crosby, and Marner and thought, okay, 3 very talented, very gifted players, but will they work as a trio? And it's working. I mean, that line has been awesome, not just today against France when they should be awesome, but even in the Czechia game, even in the Switzerland game, they've really controlled play, and they're being deployed as a shutdown trio for John Cooper and this coaching staff. So to me, that line has been a big reason for Canada's success in the preliminaries, and they'll have to continue to be if they stay together here in the elimination games coming up. We do have a little bit of breaking news coming out of this game. A lot of people saw the fight at the end, Lyss, and we'll talk about it right now. Elliot Friedman reporting that there will be no further discipline for Tom Wilson or Pierre Crinon, who was the one that hit Nathan MacKinnon a little high. And then was he the one that caught Jarvis a little high too? Kind of coming to the bench. Sure. They showed a clip of that as well. Either way, there were a couple of hits that were, the game was out of hand, a few high hits. No further discipline coming for Tom Wilson. So he is clear and all good for the quarterfinal after the fight. I mean, fighting is frowned upon in the Olympics, right? That wasn't the gloves came off. I don't think there was one punch thrown in that fight. So, I mean, yeah, you toss him for fighting, the game's over. The message has been sent, but I mean, to me, I watched that and I thought there's no reason to suspend him for another game when I don't even think a single punch was thrown.
Yeah, I'm in agreement for sure. I think that's probably the right take for both players. It would be one thing if they wanted to reassess the hit on MacKinnon in the elbow. That's fair enough. I don't necessarily think they have to or that they should, but I think specifically that isolated fight, I don't think required further discipline. I understand that the IIHF does have different rules around that sort of stuff and everything, but like you said, they got their misconducts, whatever. I think it's probably a good thing, and I think that Tom Wilson, I don't know, he approached the situation well and properly. In my opinion, I think that there is a certain level of, the brotherhood of hockey or all these isms that you want to use of the sticking up for your guy kind of thing. And, he this wasn't step one for him. He talked to the guys. He's like, hey, don't do that. And then kind of rub him out a little bit. And he also didn't instigate the fight exactly. He, laid the body contact with a little bit maybe of excessive pressure. But, so this was step, 3 or 4 kind of in the sequence of events of, retaliation for what, MacKinnon went through there. So I think that, I have no problem with kind of the way any of this is played out. I don't have a problem with Tom Wilson taking the action that he did. I don't have a problem with this not getting reviewed for either player. Makes sense to me. It's a good thing. Mike Johnson was kind of crashing out a little bit on the broadcast. He's like, you don't want anything to happen here. That's Connor McDavid's winger. That's scary. And I understand that. So it bodes well for Canada that Tom Wilson's not going to miss any time. But no harm, no foul. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally with you that nothing, again, I just said it. I don't even think a punch was thrown, so I'm totally fine with nothing happening here, of course. Want Tom Wilson to play in the quarterfinal for Canada. And in terms of how he handled it, I have no issue with that either. Like you said, went over and talked to the bench, was like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous. Can we all settle down a little bit? Then there was another hit, a little high on Jarvis, and it just kept kind of going. And France too, they hit the guys in the head and then they're like, oh, sorry. But you're still, the action is being taken out that it's a 10-2 game or whatever. And Nathan MacKinnon just got clocked in the head. So, I mean, Tom Wilson, we know that the fighting is frowned upon. And I think if this was a very bloody fight with a lot of punches thrown, maybe then you see him get suspended for the next game or something like that. But this is just kind of they dropped the gloves. Nothing really happened. And that's
Yeah,
about
and
it.
it's interesting too. I'm seeing some added context on Twitter right now.
Hmm.
Tweet from Puck Empire that I have not fact checked whatsoever, but it says Pierre Canon, who jumped Tom Wilson, was suspended for 7 games in the French league earlier this season for punching a goalie in the face. Many French fans were protesting him making the national team because of it. So if there's a little bit of history with this player and stuff like that, then maybe this is something that Team Canada was aware of as well, where it's like, the same way that everyone started crashing out about the Fiala thing on Friday because it's Tom Wilson, and it's like,
Right.
let's call it what it is in this particular scenario. But I understand if you're a Swiss fan, and if you don't even watch the NHL that closely, the red flags kind of coming up when your guy gets hurt, and it happens to be a guy that if you look up on Reddit, everyone's like, he's a goon, he's a dirty player, he does all this,
Right.
like kind of freaking out a little bit. So maybe there's something to be said there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. So again, no issue with what Tom Wilson had to do there, protecting one of Canada's superstars in Nathan McKinnon. I want to go to another tweet from Jackie Redmond here. John Cooper on Macklin Celebrini's penalty shot. Here's what Cooper had to say. We're on the bench. Ref comes over and says, "Hey, Coop, choice is yours." So I look over and Macklin's already getting ready. And the boys all look at me. "You going to change it up, Coop?" And we all just start laughing. And I was like, nope, everyone's here to see the kid. And the panel had a great discussion on this, the CBC panel at the second intermission, about how Celebrini has this swagger and all of this stuff. And like, he's 19. He's probably briefed on the rules and how they're different in the Olympics. I don't know if Macklin Celebrini knows that Canada had the choice in that situation, right? So he gets hauled down, penalty shot is called. He's probably just like, okay, I'm getting ready for my penalty shot. Like, I don't even think he's thinking about like, oh, John Cooper might take me off for this. And yeah, John Cooper, like the ref comes over and he's like, no chance we are taking this guy off for McDavid or McKinnon or whatever. He drew the penalty. He's been one of Canada's best forwards. He gets it. 19 years old. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I fully, obviously I think everyone is in support of the decision, especially because he did score, but the margin in the score was significant enough at that time. I think they were winning by 3 goals when
it was 4-1, and he made it 5-1,
yeah. So I think it's the sort of thing that almost anyone gets hauled down there, knowing, no offense to Les Francophones there, but knowing what the opposing goalie is, all this different stuff. I think that for team support and camaraderie, all this stuff, I think it's okay to give it to the guy who drew the call. And it's the sort of thing that it's say it was a Travis Sanheim that drew the call and you decide to go to someone else. Macklin Celebrini should fully be a top contender for that regardless. So when it happens to be him that gets the call, might as well do it. But I love the response from Coop on that. I think that that's absolutely the way to go. And I think you gotta kind of ride the hot hand. That's what tournaments are all about in every sport is, if someone's doing well, you kind of find a way to continue to ride that out because, you talk about, you can't continue on a PDO heater for 50 games or whatever. This isn't 50 games. This isn't the NHL regular season, everything like that. So I think that getting a bunch of guys going has been huge for Canada, and that was what I liked about this game with the score sheet and stuff like that, because you talked about the matchup line with this whole Stone thing and everything you got going on with the skill set of players and wingers that they have in this forward group. I feel like it'd be very, very easy when the stakes get a little bit higher in these games to shift your matchups around a little bit. And if someone's not, shooting well, or if someone's kind of got the Stone hands in the offensive zone, whatever, transitioning them into more of a matchup role and then opening up a little bit more space and ice for the guys who are hot to create a bit more, you have all these players who are capable of doing it. It's not like it's Team USA where, if you're trying to do the same thing and all of a sudden that requires you to put the line that has Kyle Connor and Tage Thompson as your shutdown line. It's not really the same thing. With Canada, pretty much any player on this forward group, I'm comfortable putting on a shutdown line. So I think that if you have certain guys who are feeling it a bit more and they're shooting the lights out or whatever, you kind of have that flexibility. So I like the idea of kind of ebbing and flowing with the game. And Macklin Celebrini draws a great call and he's already, been getting some looks in this game. Might as well just give it to him, right? So I think that it's a great call, and I think it helps Canada come out of this game in the flow that they needed to, knowing that a win was likely in the cards for them. You also still get those other kind of off the score sheet wins that you needed to get ready for the playoffs.
Totally. And Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this goes with Canada and how their lines look and all of these things going into the elimination games, which start Wednesday for Canada. The prelim, or sorry, the what do I call it? Quarterfinal qualification, I think it's officially called, starts Tuesday, and then Canada will play their next game on Wednesday. Another bit of news that we did get this morning, Lyss, was from Ryan Hrabchak, who took a video of Josh Morrissey skating on the ice. So Canada did hold a little bit of a morning skate, heading into the game tonight. I think it was optional. Like, I don't think it was a full skate, but Josh Morrissey did go out there and skate on his own, kind of running around there, which is a great sign. And we heard John Cooper say that, he wouldn't play in this game against France, but by no means is his tournament over. So good sign that Josh Morrissey's out there skating, practicing, all of those things. We want to see him back in this tournament for Canada. What do you think a Josh Morrissey return would do for this blue line? Have you noticed his absence? Because I have.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one thing that, look, I feel like I should have said this right off the hop about this game where, we haven't really gotten to the goaltending conversation yet, which maybe we can eventually if people have some kind of questions about Jordan Binnington, all this different stuff. This is a very, very difficult hockey game to play in. It's the same way that I actually always draw the Josh Morrissey comparison outside of where he's at right now when I talk about this sort of thing, where Josh Morrissey struggled a little bit at the AHL level. Like, he didn't have this whole 1A defenseman prime career, all this different stuff with the Manitoba Moose in the AHL that people were maybe expecting or hoping and everything from him. But it's very, very difficult to play at the full caliber that you can and that you want to and everything when your competition isn't doing things the way that you are necessarily try to feel out and sussing out and all this different stuff when it's not at the same level as you, right? So when you're expecting plays to go a certain way and they don't execute at the same level that your team would or that the other teams that you're expecting to play would, stuff like that, makes it difficult. So when your goalie's not facing a lot of shots, when the shots that they are getting don't look the same as the, NHL level shots that they face every single day, whether it's in practice with their own teammates or in NHL games, it's just a little bit of a different environment. So I try not to hold anything that happened in this game too much against players just because that is a very, very real thing. You think about even when you're playing, your minor league sports or when you play, beer league sports as like an adult and everything like that. Like when you're playing against a team that's way worse than you, it's so easy to kind of play down to their level and because you're not sharp, it's you have to, be able to mentally kind of get out of that, all this different stuff. I get it, but it's just a very, very real kind of environment. Now, putting all that sort of aside, brought that up because it is Josh Morrissey. I know that's the example kind of we always give with him, but in this game, I'm trying not to hold anything too harshly against certain players, but we saw the breakout giveaway, right? Like everyone saw that. What happened on France's second goal there, or was it their first goal? I don't remember. Their first goal. It's like, all right. The middle. Like, I think that there is a lot of questions about would Colton Parayko look a little bit better if Josh Morrissey was back and playing with him. I also think that, there's the injury replacement vibes that you have when you're allowed to dress the 13 forwards and the 7 defensemen, where if someone is not playing well or if someone, tweaks something a little bit, you can still run 4 lines properly. And then you just kind of aren't using your 13th or 7th guy as much. So I think that having that extra padding of an elite guy kind of in that rotation is great. And it also lowers someone else's role a little bit more and stuff. But I think Colton Parayko is going to look a lot better if Josh Morrissey comes back. And I also think that the avenue is there that even if they need to ease him into a little bit more, you can put him in that 7th role and kind of put him out for very specific situations that you want him to. Josh is a very versatile player. So I think that you can put him out in a lot of different scenarios with a lot of different partners to kind of get him back acclimatized to it. But I think that just in terms of some of the stretch passes that I've seen, in terms of some of the even middle of the house coverage, I don't think I saw a single proper perimeter shot from France today. They didn't get a lot of shots, but a lot of them did kind of come from the middle of the ice when they did get them on net. I think Josh does a better job of clearing out kind of that middle of the ice than maybe some of the other players in this decor, different things like that. So I think they miss him. I think it'll be great to get him back. I think he will come back. Great to see him skating today. I think that he's going to do everything in his power to play in their next game. And yeah, I think the decor is going to look a lot better if they can get him back in there, especially playing with Parayko in some higher leverage minutes.
Yeah. And I think this is a good comment here that, Thomas Harley has been more than fine as a replacement. Out of the guys in the bottom 6, I guess, or I guess outside of Cale Makar, let's just say that, in Josh Morrissey's with his injury, I thought Thomas Harley has been the best in terms of stepping up and kind of punching above his weight class. He got the promotion today up into the top 4 playing with Colton Parayko. They rotate guys so much. But when you have Parayko, Doughty, and Sanheim all in the same defense core, those are 3 guys that aren't incredibly fast. They're not Josh Morrissey. They're not Cale Makar in their skating abilities. So my number one concern with that was, okay, not France, but Switzerland was, I think, a better example where if teams are able to get the puck deep and forecheck these Canadian defensemen, are those 3 in particular, Parayko, Doughty, Sanheim, going to be able to shake the forecheck and make that first exit pass? Because they can all do it at the NHL level, but best on best is a little bit different, maybe a little bit faster. Maybe the shorter ice is playing a bit of a factor in that as well. And Josh Morrissey's so elite at that. He's one of the best breakout exit pass defenseman in the National Hockey League. He's an incredible skater. And at beating the forecheck, beating his guy, beating the F1, that's what Josh Morrissey is like incredible at. So I was really looking at someone to do that for Canada. And Thomas Harley, I think, has done it the best. The other 3, they've been hit and miss. I mean, Parayko today, that was brutal. I mean, you can't just throw that up the middle and then the rebound is right there too. And it's almost like he thought he had all day and there was a guy right there and they banged the rebound home for France to make it 1-1 at the time. But no, I mean, this is Josh Morrissey. I've noticed his absence in that area, the puck moving ability. And the number one thing with this defense core is get the puck up to all of these generational forwards. That's how Canada's going to win their games. And Josh Morrissey does that at a very, very elite level and will be a huge boost back in the lineup if he can play on Wednesday. I'm really hoping he can, because just for the personal storyline of it too, Liz, we've talked about this before, but the Four Nations sickness, the injury in Game 7 against the Blues, and then the injury in Game 6 against the Stars. Like, it's just the biggest games that he's had to play in. He's missed because of injuries and the illness last year at the Four Nations. So that would be awesome if he can come back, and a huge boost for Canada too. Anything else you want to say on today's game, on the France game, on the round robin prelims in general that you've noticed from Canada that you wanted to chat about?
I mean, I think the one thing that I guess hasn't really come up yet, and it's something that has been really interesting. If anyone listens to WST Sunday Live a lot, you know that I'm not a big Faceoff guy, right? I think that Faceoffs are extremely important in the way that teams talk about them, but not so much in the way that fans tend to talk about them, where, you talk about a guy being 53% in the circle versus, whatever side he's like. There's so many factors that go into face-off percentages, and when they're marginal, like, a 51 versus a 53 versus 55, I'm not always super interested in kind of what you have to say about face-off. That said, I think one thing that's been huge for me in kind of watching Canada a lot is that they have a lot of guys who are great in the draw. Like McDavid won a ton this morning when he was, in the circle. It was great. It's fantastic. I've just been loving the way that Canada's been breaking out after their D zone draw wins. They have just been like absolute electric factory, kind of coming out of their own zone off the draw. It's very, very difficult. I think that, when you're on the cycle and there's a turnover in the zone, your defensemen are already a little bit mobile, and then they, can start backing up, get your gap figured out, all this different stuff. It's not easy to do against, McDavid and all these different players. I totally get it. But there have been multiple occasions over the course of this tournament that Canada has won their D zone draw. They've pulled it back, and all of a sudden the defensemen, they kind of have to start getting into that game mode when they've been starting stationary. And I've really liked the way Canada's kind of attacked the neutral zone off of D zone draws. So I think it's great knowing that you have all these different options. The side that you're on matters a ton for where you're taking the draws and stuff like that. So that's why I never love the percentages, because it's like, hey, what side was this player taking it on? Like, well, who is it against? All this different stuff. And then, if a guy is 1 for 2 or whatever, it's like, it's a little bit of a coin toss to a certain degree, but Canada's been really, really good in the circle in this tournament. And I think that it has helped a ton.
Yeah. And what they're doing off of the face-offs is a huge component of that. Like, not to bring up the Winnipeg Jets, I know we're all having fun this morning, but we see it with the Jets sometimes. They throw out Taves for the late draw and he wins it, and then they create a chance off of it. It's about, like, yeah, he could just lose it and it would be nothing, but you got to do something with it if you do win the draw. So that's something. And yeah, Ritz Kraka in the chat. Carter Chen, is the gold medal game seriously at 7 a.m. on Sunday? Yes, the gold medal game is next Sunday at 7:10 a.m. Central Time. So join us after.
I will be there no matter what.
Join us after on WST Sunday Live. It's going to be an absolute blast, we hope. It'll be great. It'll be great. And yes, Canada plays Wednesday. Not sure when, not sure against who, but they do play Wednesday in their next game in the quarterfinals. Now, just a few housekeeping notes. Canada set a number of, or two very key records in today's game. The first one being this. Connor McDavid has the most points in a tournament by a Canadian NHL player in Olympics history, passing Winnipeg Jet Jonathan Toews, who had 8 points in the 2010 Winter Olympics. He had 1 goal and 7 assists. Connor McDavid has 9 points through 3 games, Lyss. He's just been awesome. I mean, he had 3 points in each game. It's not like he just beat up on France. He had 3 against Czechia, 3 against Switzerland, 3 today.
I would argue that tonight was his least interesting game of the 3.
For sure. And he had a nasty breakaway goal and it's crazy. It's crazy. He now has that new record. So there is Connor McDavid. And then another record that was broken during the game was Sid the Kid. Sidney Crosby, all-time Team Canada points leader at the Olympics. He got points 15 and 16 today against France. 15 tied Jerome McGinley, and then 16 broke the record. So Sidney Crosby, now your all-time Canada points leader at the Olympics. Awesome, like 2 history-making moments, which you love to see. I mean, it's a Sunday morning against France. Canada's going to win 10-2. That's just going to happen, or at least that's what we expected. It's nice to see McDavid break that record, by the way. And we still have, if all goes well, 3 games left for Canada. He has 9 points. The record was 8. And quarters, semis, gold medal game. That's
insane that
he's got time.
Like that 8 is the record. Like, think about some guys, they'll put up 5-6 points in like a game against, like a Latvian beatdown in 2014.
The scoring probably wasn't as high. And these teams roll lines. Like McDavid's playing I think his high was 18 minutes, which Connor McDavid, you could play 26 minutes
as it should be in a tournament this at this stage. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, for him to get 9.
John Cooper knows puck.
John Cooper does know puck. Tap 97 on the shoulder. Tell him to go on the ice. That's you'll do a good job. And then, Waiters brings, I was just going to bring this up. 2014 was low scoring. Like Canada was winning every game 1-0. I think their points leader was Drew Doughty. He was their goals leader for sure. It was low scoring to say the least. And then 2010, that team was so loaded, so many different goal scorers. But even they had a game, like they rolled Norway, I think it was. They put up 9 or something goals. And Germany, they destroyed in their qualification play-in game. So there was, Crosby was on that team. He got points in that tournament too, which contributed to this. But I was also shocked that 8 was the record for a single Olympics. But anyways, nonetheless, Connor McDavid leads or now holds the record for most points in a single Olympic tournament by Canadian. 9. He might be good at hockey. He might be good.
It's just so cinematic. We can move on, but I just like that. And then the Crosby thing, and then how much time we spent glazing Macklin Celebrini for how his, first Olympics is going and everything. Like, we are so lucky, Connor. I know we talk about this all the time, but we are so lucky. We are so unlucky that we didn't get this for the last couple of years and all this different stuff. I get it, but I've moved on. I am now just in this moment of I sometimes get emotional thinking about how kids these days will never know, prime Crosby and what, the 16-17 Penguins and, what the early stages of his career looked like and everything like that. But, you're getting it with McDavid. You're going to get it with Macklin Celebrini. And we're just so lucky that this country continues to pump out this talent that we get to watch it on this stage a Sunday morning, drinking my coffee, watching Nathan McKinnon on the ice with Connor McDavid. I'm like, who has it better than us?
Yeah.
Who has it better than us?
No one. And another great part of this is Celebrini's 19. Connor Bedard, there was a huge debate. He didn't make the team. He's 20. Matthew Schaefer probably should have made the team. He's 18. This young next wave is coming. for
I'm
Canada.
going to be doing like a 6-week root touch by the time we stop seeing Macklin Celebrini playing because I'm going to be all gray in the hair. Like, I'm so lucky.
Like I said off the top, there is a real chance he plays in 6 Olympic Games for Canada if he plays till he's 39 years old, which is nuts.
Amazing.
Absolutely nuts.
It's 20 years.
And
you get 20 more years of this.
Yeah.
You think we're still going to be doing this?
Sunday Live? I hope so. 39-year-old Macklin Celebrini? Yeah, let's do it. And yeah, Carter here saying, I remember Crosby World Juniors the best. Speaking of the World Juniors, the guy that we spent 20 minutes glazing off the top of the show could have played in this year's World Juniors.
That's so insane to me, I know. So funny.
He's 19.
So funny.
He's eligible for the World Juniors, and he's got 4 goals at the Olympics. I love this. This is so much fun. This is so much fun. And like I said earlier, Macklin Celebrini quickly skyrocketing up my favorite players list. And I think the goal against Switzerland that he set up, where he took the penalty, forechecked, like, oh, he's such a stud. He's such a stud. It's awesome. All right, Lyss, we got segments to get to, so let's get to them. First, we're going to get to our Chud's Power Sports Power Poll. This is going to be a fun one. We're ranking our top 5 moments from Canada's prelim games. So they beat Czechia, they beat Switzerland, they beat France. Our top 5 moments from those games. That's what we're ranking on our Chud's Power Sports Power Poll. But let's first give a shout out to our friends over at Chud's Power Sports. They have you covered for all of your power sports needs here in the province of Manitoba. Their store, Superstore, is located up at the corner of Highway 8 and 231 up in Gimli. Big deals on tons of equipment. Polaris, like you see on the screen right now, and snow day deals still going on up at Chud's Power Sports. And if you can't make it out there to Gimli, corner of Highway 8 and 231, check out their website that I have on the screen right here, chudspowersports.com. You can find all of their great deals there. But like I said, if you want the great service of Chud's, been serving Manitobans for over 80 years, almost into their 9th decade, up in Gimli is where you will find them. And here on the website, they have their e-commerce store, this red button in the top right. You can go there, and they have a ton of clearance equipment, jackets, goggles, helmets, all of the things that I have on the screen here, heavily discounted on clearance. So if you need any of this stuff as well, through Chud's website, you can go find truenorthparts.ca. So shout out to Chud's Power Sports for sponsoring this episode of WST Sunday Live and all of our power polls here at Winnipeg Sports Talk. Now, Lyss, let's get to our Chud's Power Sports Power Poll for today. And like I said, it's the top 5 moments from Team Canada in the prelims. Czechia, Switzerland, France. Here it is. Number 5, the Heartline goal versus Switzerland. This is the one that we keep referencing. Macklin Celebrini takes the penalty. 19-year-old kid. Is the moment too big for him? He storms out of the box, forces the turnover, gets it to McDavid. McKinnon finishes it off. Probably the top 3 players in Hart Trophy odds. I haven't looked recently. Celebrini, McDavid, McKinnon. That goal versus Switzerland was amazing. Sidney Crosby's first goal of the Olympics, number 4. Nice little net front deflection. Mitch Marner with a great pass. But just seeing Sidney Crosby score for Canada at the Olympics again, chef's kiss. Macklin Celebrini penalty shot today against France. Now, we talked about this earlier, why we love it so much. He gets hauled down on the penalty shot. You can choose to put out McDavid and McKinnon, all of these seasoned veteran legends, and you don't. You don't even think twice. Macklin Celebrini is a stud. This 19-year-old, he's going to go out there and he's going to score. And it was a really nice goal with a great camera angle, Lyss. The sky cam captured that one great. Number 2, Macklin Celebrini's first goal versus Czechia. So it was a very even first period. If you remember, 0-0, time winding down. Celebrini goes right to the front of the net, tips it home. And the first goal of the tournament is by Canada's youngest player, 19-year-old Celebrini. Electric moment. Just seeing Canada score again at the Olympics with NHL players was awesome. But to have it be Celebrini, who, how old would he have been in 2014, the last time players were there? I don't even know. And then Connor McDavid's
12,
hit.
I think.
12, there you go. And then Connor McDavid's hit versus Czechia, number 1. NHL players being back at the Olympics was awesome. And we were waiting for that first McDavid shift. And it was just, they started with Crosby, and then I think they went to the Horvat line. And then McDavid came out there and just absolutely crushed a Czechia defender. Had me so fired up watching that game. I thought it was Tom Wilson. I was waiting for the Tom Wilson big hit on the first shift, but to see Connor McDavid do it, the superstar who just set the record for points by a Canadian in a single Winter Olympics, and we're not even at the medal round yet, and he's the guy throwing big hits. Connor McDavid hit versus Czechia to set the tone for the Winter Olympics. Number one. Lyss, what are your thoughts on this power poll and any objections?
Yeah, it's quite the list. It's been such a fun couple of days. I can't believe it's only been 4 days since this started. Like, I feel like we've been feasting, man. Like, the hockey's been so good. But yeah, I think obviously for a lot of these, it's the storyline around it more than just the moment itself, right? You know, like you said, the fact that it was McDavid's first shift and like what does he have to prove and all this different stuff. And you know, Sidney Crosby is like, I need to stop freaking out so much about him. But that goal, man, that one probably for me on my list might go a little bit higher, just because of everything about, like I said, the storyline around it, right? He scores that goal and Celebrini and McDavid are on the bench, and you see Crosby get his goal. It's a deflection, you know, quick stick work from Sid. Obviously, what better way for him to get on the board with his first of the Olympics and all this different stuff. And then pans to the bench, and McDavid's hugging Celebrini. It's not Celebrini hugging McDavid. McDavid's hugging Celebrini, and it's just like, man, like, this is the past, present, and future, quite literally, right? Like quite with Crosby and McDavid and Celebrini, with the way that their careers are spaced out in terms of how old they are and stuff. Like, it's oh my gosh, I can't. Like, they're basically 10 years apart each, right? Like, you have an 87, a 97, and then I think Celebrity's in 06, right? Or is he? I don't know how old he is.
We can figure that out.
Or maybe in 05. But like, they're kind of in that past, present, future sort of situation. So that everything about that goal was just so special to me. So that gets my kind of like honorable mention pop up. But all 5 of these things were unreal.
Yeah, he is an 06. So he he's just a child, and he's gonna turn 20 on June 13th. This upcoming June 13th. So yeah, like I said, eligible for this year's World Juniors. Canada could have used them. They lost to Czechia in the quarters once again. Or no, it was the semis this year. Sorry, I can't keep up with all the losses to Czechia as of late to the World Juniors. But we got them back at best on best in the Olympics, so life is good. But there it is, our Chuds Power Sports Power Poll, top 5 Canada moments from the prelims. And Lyss, all we can hope is that we are here next Sunday doing our top 5 moments from a gold medal run for Canada. I can't believe the prelims are already over. Like, I'm so sad. But hey, now we get to the big moments, the big games, the games that matter the absolute most, where my anxiety gets to an unhealthy level, and we all cheer for Canada at the Olympics against USA at some point in the gold medal game, potentially. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, there's our Chuds Power Sports Power Poll. Thank you to Chuds for sponsoring all of our Power Polls here at Winnipeg Sports Talk. Been serving Manitobans for over 80 years, so check them out. Corner of Highway 8 and 231 up in Gimli. Now, Lyss, this next segment's going to be fun. I have no clue who we're going to take for trending down, but we will find a way. Trending up, down. This is the part of the show where we pick usually one Winnipeg Jet, but it is best on best at the Olympics, so we're going to choose one Olympic hockey player, men's, women's tournament, wherever you want to go, who is trending up or down over the past week of play. And let us know in the comments down below who your picks are for trending up or down. You just pick one player who you thought is playing great this week, one who you thought is maybe not hitting their expectation this week. And this is the part of the show where we do exactly that. So Lyss, you have the floor. Trending up, there are probably like 10 forwards out of 12 that you could take here for Team Canada if you want to go that range, but trending up, who's your pick?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna pick go a bit of a weird angle here, okay? Because in the nature of, you know, spreading the wealth, and you know, there's not a lot of trending down that you can do for Canada right now with how things are going. So what I'm gonna do is, for both trending up and trending down, I'm going to pick players from Team USA. Okay.
Nice.
Now, to start, trending up, Caroline Harvey. Okay. I think that it's been really interesting to see kind of the discourse around women's hockey during the Olympics is always fascinating, because again, you always have some people coming in being like, oh my gosh, like, remember the name Marie-Philippe Poulet, this girl might be good. And it's like, yeah, man, where you been, kind of thing. And there's always a little bit of that in women's hockey for sure. But that's kind of the nature of the Olympics, is that you get to lock in on sports that you don't always follow. And you just got to be careful about the way you phrase it, right? You know, I'm going to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, who is this Ilya guy from Team USA? What a great figure skater. Whereas people who watch figure skating all the time are like, hello, he's the best
Right.
in the entire country or like world right now. What are you
I saw
talking
him
about?
finish
But
8th though. Sorry, that was too easy. Go ahead.
But yeah, I think it's been really cool to watch the hype around Caroline Harvey. She's such a cool player. I've seen a ton of. I don't watch a lot of NCAA women's hockey. I don't watch a lot of NCAA hockey at all. Probably watch more women's than men's. But she's just such a cool player, and she's been part of this like women's national program for she played on their Olympic team, last cycle around and everything, and she's just so cool. So it's been really cool to see her getting her flowers. She had one goal in the game against Canada where she just freaking walked the entire team off of an ozone win by her center. It was just unreal. So I want to give her some flowers. She's such a fun hockey player to watch.
I love that. Yeah, she is. In that game, USA versus Canada, I was locked into that one, and she was kind of unstoppable for the US. So great pick there. I'm gonna take the kid that we've talked about for way too long on today's show, probably, but that is Macklin Celebrini. Both trending up in my expectation of what he was going to be like with Connor McDavid. I thought he'd be great. I didn't think he'd be this great. He has been so awesome. Easily one of Canada's best players, and he's 19 years old. So I'm going to take him, and hopefully we get to see this duo time and time again score some big clutch goals and big moments for Canada and do it for a very long time. Celebrini's 19, Connor McDavid's 28. Next Olympics, 23 and 32 with Celebrini's age and McDavid's. The one after that, McDavid will be 36. McDavid's going to play at 40. I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully this is the start of Connor McDavid finding a winger that he can play for at the Olympics, at the World Cup, and all of these events, because the chemistry is so obviously there. And if you have two generational superstars that click with instant chemistry in international tournaments, that's such a huge advantage to have. So I am going to take Macklin Celebrini as my trending up pick. Trending down, Lyss, who do you want to take here?
Jeremy Swayman. I'm taking Jeremy Swayman for my trending down pick.
No doubt about it.
Sat down for a generational hate watch yesterday for USA Denmark, and what?
Man.
It was a really interesting game. And look, I'm a Jeremy Swayman believer. I stand by the fact that, the goaltending group that Team USA brought for the men's side is just unbelievable. But Sway did not have a good game yesterday. And so I highly doubt he's going to suit up for much more of this tournament unless something happens with Ottinger or Hellebuyck. But good on them for letting him play out the game yesterday. A couple of not great looks at everything, but unfortunately, there's nothing personal here. There's no, character, moral victories or anything. If it's a Team USA hate watch, if there's something to hate about them, I'm there for it. So kind of objectively hilarious to watch him let in a goal from center ice. I've watched like a million angles of that goal, and like I completely understand what happened there and all these different things. And as an aside,
no, I can't with the excuse. I can't.
Okay, no. Sorry, I'm not looking for excuses, but
no. The excuse that's circulating online that the boards were like blackened out the puck.
Oh,
I think that's ridiculous.
It was just the redirection from the shin pad is just like you're not necessarily expected. Like it's a very
it's a shot from center ice. You have plenty of time to pick it up.
I know. I get it. He's my trending down pick. All this for sure,
fair.
But it is hilarious. Just So shout out Sway.
I can't with the people like giving him a pass on that. I mean, like if it was Connor Hellebuyck, you think people would be jumping to like save this guy? No.
Center ice goals happen in the NHL a season. 2?
Yeah, like a handful.
Like they rarely happen. Yeah. So yeah, there's you have a lot of time. My aside that I was gonna go on, there's a guy who does some hockey stat stuff who DM'd me on LinkedIn the other day, and he had an interesting point he wanted to bring up about average shot times and one-timers and all this different stuff versus reaction times, and how the gap, like how much quicker shots are getting in terms of release and all this different stuff. And I have this like secret thing in my head that I'm like, I wonder if we're just starting to see a little bit more like soccer goaltending where it's like you have to just make a decision, and if you pick wrong, that sucks, but like you don't always have time to respond, because even if you pick right, your body physically can't move fast enough to get where you want to go and stuff with how quick and good shooters are getting and stuff. But that wasn't that fast of a shot. That redirection had some time. I'm not trying to come up with excuses for Sway. He's my trending down.
Yeah, and then I saw the quote after they asked him about it, because everyone's like, oh, the boards are painted black, so the puck just blended in. And then he said, or they're like, did that play a factor? And he's like, I'm colorblind, so no. It's like that.
Which I don't also understand.
I
But
also don't either. But anyways, I keep seeing like Connor Hellebuck lets in that goal. You're seeing a flood of tweets on how, oh, big game Hellebuck is back, yada yada. But Swayman does that. What?
I'm choosing your trending down for you.
No, I have my trending down, and I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Kyle Connor.
Yeah. Scratched.
Kyle Connor. More breaking news here on WST Sunday Live. Kyle Connor, healthy scratch for the U.S. today. As Michael Russo is reporting, looks like Kyle Connor, Jeremy Swayman, and Jackson Lacombe aren't dressing for USA. Clayton Keller comes in and is on the third line with Yarkin and Thompson. And let me say this, last year, Kyle Connor got scratched for the Four Nations final, and we all sat here thinking, like, how could they do that? You know, like, that's ridiculous. Matthew Tkachuk was hurt. Matthew Tkachuk played 5 minutes in that game. Chris Kreider played 4 minutes in that game. And it's like, how could they do this? Kyle Connor was healthy, all of these things. It's not a shock this year. If you've been watching the USA games, like, he doesn't have a shot on goal in either of the two games against Latvia or Denmark. And that line with Larkin and Thompson that Kyle Connor has been on just hasn't done anything. Hasn't generated. They heavily limited their minutes against Denmark late in the third period because they just couldn't really trust them. He had the third fewest amount of forward time on ice last game for the U.S. against Denmark. He played just under 10 minutes, I think 9:50. So look, like, can Kyle Connor come back in this tournament and make an impact? Yes, I'm not betting against that, and I would not be shocked to see that. But this time around, Kyle Connor being a healthy scratch to me is not a shock because I've watched these USA games and I just have not noticed him really much at all. And Jack Hughes is the guy, the poster boy for, like, oh, he was terrible at the Four Nations and how is he going to respond? Like, do they even take him? All of these things. And he's come out flying. He's been maybe USA's best forward. He's trying to change the narrative. Kyle Connor got scratched. Mike McIntyre from the Free Press interviewed him. He's like, yeah, I'm here to change the narrative. I'm here to do all these things. He's no shots against Latvia and Denmark.
But the thing that's interesting about that, right, is, going back to what we talked about earlier in the show about the group of forwards that Canada has, where it's like, if something's not going well with their wingers and, like, they're not scoring, they're not shooting, they can't find that open ice, all that different stuff,
right,
they have other roles that they can put them in. They can move stuff around to try and, utilize that player in a different way, maybe free up some space for other guys. If Kyle Connor's not shooting the puck, I don't know what he's doing, right? So that's a very, very difficult. And the thing is, he's so good at shooting the puck that you're willing to take on that risk of bringing that player because there are few players, the probably only other two that are in the same stratosphere as him right now in this tournament are on his team in Austin Matthews and Tage Thompson in terms of kind of utilizing a little bit of open space to take a proper shot and get that release going. But if he's not doing that, he's not, killing your penalties in the same way that a Brandon Hagel is. He's not, doing all these different things in zone with as a matchup winger and different stuff. Like, you don't have a lot of leash to put him into other roles and positions, right? So that's the tough part about a player like him and a player like Tage. So I'm not shocked at all. I think it's the right call. If I was a Team USA fan, that's what I would be clamoring for. So in a workaround way, I'm sad that he's getting scratched because I think that they have a better chance of winning with Clayton Keller in the lineup tonight.
I know, which is crazy to say. And, like, I follow a number of Team USA fans on Twitter and stuff, and, like, people cheering for the US, and they all were asking for this. They all were asking for Kyle Connor out of the lineup for Clayton Keller. That's what the USA fans have been thinking for these first two games. And it's not really working too well. And I mean, it's interesting. He hasn't spent any time away from Mark Scheifele this season yet, Lyss. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, you take him without Mark Scheifele on his wing and he's all of a sudden this player that is completely different. But, like, maybe it takes him longer to adjust to a different play style because he's been playing with one guy all year. Like, maybe it's like, oh, I have to play with a left-handed center in Dylan Larkin. I've never done that. Or I haven't done that since Pierre-Luc Dubois was here. Like, it's just, there's all of these little things that, like, yeah, he plays with Mark Scheifele. He knows where Scheifele is. He knows that Scheifele's right-handed. He knows where Scheifele likes to pass it to him. Does he know any of those things for Dylan Larkin? No. So maybe it takes a longer adjustment period, but maybe that's it. Maybe he just doesn't have the sauce. Maybe he's just not playing confident. There are a number of things that could be the case. But anyways, Kyle Connor trending down pick pretty easy as we got news here as he will be healthy scratched for Team USA. this afternoon in their game against Germany, where as long as they don't win by 10, triggering a second tiebreaker, Canada will finish as the number 1 seed in the Olympics. That's going to do it for Trending Up Down. A lot of great picks in the chat. A lot of people saying or Kenny's water bottle said my wake up times with the Olympics. Your thoughts on the 9 a.m. games? Maybe that can be a good transition to one burning question list. This is the part of the show where the chat fires off questions and we try and rapid fire through as many as we can. Your thoughts on the time zones so far? We'll have a time zone discussion here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Do you like the 9 a.m. games?
I love the 9 a.m. games. I think I do find it hilarious. A lot of people are not happy about the gold medal game being at 7 a.m. and all that. I have so many different perspectives on Canada and North America and all this different stuff where it's like, don't get me wrong, right now it's like I'm Canada down, y'all know, right? Like kind of thing. But I also kind of love that like the Olympics don't have to pander to, Eastern Standard Time in Toronto and New York and all this different stuff. Like, like this is a global thing. And so, you know what, maybe there's some slight inconveniences to the different time zones and everything, but it's not always about you, which is kind of, nice and important. And, it kind of puts things in perspective and humbles us a bit. But all that's to say, I have the privilege of working from home for the most part. So I have been loving the 9 a.m. games. It kind of, this slot right here was like my favorite one so far. I don't mind the noon ones. Don't love the 2 p.m. ones. I don't know. I've been kind of back and forth on it. Today was my favorite start time that we've had. I got my coffee. I was ready to go. I didn't have to wake up too early. I did not wake up to watch, men's moguls or biathlon or curling, whatever was going on this morning. I just kind of locked in on hockey. So yeah, I've been liking the start times. I'm a huge fan of daytime sporting stuff. I love watching the Australian Open. I love watching, Wimbledon when it's on, when different tournaments are happening during my workday and stuff. Love it, love it, love it. Love daytime sport events. But yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay. I'm a fan too. I mean, in a perfect world, obviously I'd prefer the Four Nations style of it where it's at like 7 p.m., but in terms of Olympic time zones, I remember Sochi was like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., right? Like that's the middle of the night. That is like, you got to figure something out. Like the 9:40 a.m., you're not changing really anything. You're waking up, you're watching the game. It's
no, like five. The most inconvenient one was the 5 a.m. Finland, Sweden.
Now, if Canada gets a 5 a.m, like semis game or something, then I will have my pitchfork out and ready to go.
I won't like that.
No. As long as they keep it in like the 9 a.m. time slot or the 2 p.m. And then again, the gold medal game being at 7 on a Sunday, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. If Canada wins, I'll feel great about it. If they lose, I'll hate it. How about that? How about that?
Good take.
Yeah. All right, well, this is one burning question. This is the part of the show where we open it up to the chat room and try and fire off as many questions as we can before we wrap today's show. We're already over an hour. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here at an unconventional time for us. We usually go live every Sunday morning at 9, but zero chance we were going up numbers-wise against Team Canada and their men's hockey team today. So we are here live.
It was not about numbers, buddy. It's all about...
I'm locked in.
You and I are not... True. You and I cannot be bothered to do anything but watch Team Canada men's hockey when it's on.
No, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could. It would just be like a lot of expletives. Not in a 10-2 game against France. Maybe a 10-2 game against France would have been perfect. But it's like, then am I expected to do a gold medal game watch along? Zero chance. God, no. Nobody wants to see that. I can confirm that.
No, that's between me and God. I'm so serious.
Waiters, how much money does Celebrini get this summer when he signs an extension? What's 20% of the cap starting next season? What's the cap next season? 113?
Something like that.
Is it that?
I don't know. I have it in a spreadsheet somewhere. That's a lot of work. Whatever that is, waiters, that's our answer.
Yeah, he gets the max. No, like if they go 8 years, he gets 20%, which is of 113 million is 22.6. If they were going 8 years, I don't think he'll go 8 years. I think he'll go 4.
No, but I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if I think he will get more of an AAV than Kirill Kaprizov. I think he's going to have the highest AAV.
Yeah, I agree.
The national.
I agree.
So that's my take.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And again, if they go 8 years, it's 20%, which is 22.6 million or whatever the max is. The max is you can do 20% of the salary cap. If it's an 8-year deal, it's going to be 20%. I mean, he's 19. He's already in Hart Trophy conversations. They could blank check this guy and
yeah, whatever he wants, give him
whatever he wants. That is the answer. When is Canada's next game? That will be Wednesday. Not sure against who or the time, because a lot of these teams have to play a
rock with my arms around my knees waiting for Wednesday.
Oh man, yeah, it's good. That's gonna feel like a long wait.
But we have the women's we can watch, so that's
exactly good. The women. When is their semis game?
Oh yeah, so it's 8-year deal. He can't sign an 8-year deal.
Oh right, okay, 7 years.
My bad.
7 years. They can do 7.
Can he?
They can do 7
until
September.
September 5th. He might be able to.
Good call.
Actually, no. You know, I think 8 years only applies to anyone who's extension eligible until July 1st. Probably would be my guess. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Max, yeah, but really good point by Palmer Lane.
Yep. Great
8924. Thank you. Good
Leslie
call.
brought it up too. Leslie Mitchnick. Thank you guys.
That was the conversation about like the Quinn Hughes stuff too, right? This whole time. So yeah. Interesting.
Rob Mahoney's Canada cheating enough. This is definitely a curling reference. As someone who's like not into curling, I'm just like I'm into curling. Don't get me wrong, but not like dialed in. I've been like just watching this from afar. Like the you can't even film in the curling thing apparently. So it's like, is this a massive like sting operation by Team Sweden to get a camera right down the line to see the finger kind of touch the rock? Like, oh my, the drama is incredible. This is what we're here for, folks.
Absolutely.
This is what we're here for.
Yeah, the Olympics has not been short of it in terms of these storylines. The Norwegian infidel, all these different We've moved past the penis enlargement of the ski jumpers,
right,
man. Like that's like yesterday's news, man.
Yeah, that is so old news. Yeah, exactly. Kabilis asks, "Am I the only one intrigued and likes Tom Wilson on this team?" I like Tom Wilson on this team.
I've been on Team Tom Wilson from day one. I think he's been awesome. I really like him as a player. One of those guys. I'm trying to think of a couple other examples of players whose like reputations precede them so much, where it's like he's just. I feel like people who didn't want him on their team or thought it was a bad idea or like a galaxy brain take to put him on their team are thinking about Tom Wilson of like 6 years ago and not Tom Wilson of like the last 6 years. Like he's such an absolute rocket of a player. Yeah, I loved his goal today. Great forecheck, separates the man from the puck, gets the puck up to the point, fights to the front of the net, gets on the rebound. Like that's a Tom Wilson goal. And then you get the stuff at the end where maybe he pushes it just enough where he doesn't get suspended for the quarterfinal game, but he still sticks up for his teammates. Like, I'm totally here for it. The kind of guy that will sit here when the Jets play the Capitals and be like, screw Tom Wilson. But then when he's on our team, hell yeah, go nuts, man. Like, I love it. Who comes out with Marchand going back in? Yeah, John Cooper did confirm to reporters. A lot of people reporting that Marchand, who hasn't played the last 2 games, John Cooper did confirm kind of dealing with an injury coming into the tournament. They were trying to manage him a little bit. Marchand will be back in for the quarters. So, Lyss, your guess on who comes out? My guess would be Jarvis. Yeah, just simply because that's who went in. And Jarvis has been good. Like, again, Marchand was good in his game too. Like everyone's been the
good.
The bar is not good though, right? Because it's like they're all good. Everyone's been good in that forward group and stuff. I think Jarvis is the most likely candidate. I think the second most likely to me would probably be Sam Bennett. And after that, I think it would start getting a little bit more controversial. Like, I don't even know where you go after that. Maybe
Reinhardt?
Suzuki, maybe Ryan. Like, I don't even know where you go. But I think that Jarvis is probably the most likely option. Brad Marchand is a guy who I've said kind of from the get-go is the most likely to be a beneficiary of, or benefactor, whatever, of like some load management, just in terms of, like you said, the injury stuff and actually having a game off to help him come in and make an impact and stuff. I want him playing in 1 or 2 more games kind of in this tournament. I think when he's on, he's awesome. So I think Jarvis is probably the most likely candidate.
Marchand was great in the Czechia game too. Like he had a glorious chance out in front. Dostal robbed him. And then on the Horvat goal, it was all him kind of skating up the wall, baiting the defenseman to step up in the neutral zone, slid the puck to Horvat, who had speed. Horvat went right down the middle, backhand 5-hole. Canada took a 3-0 lead. So I really liked Marchand's game. He's playing at a 45-goal pace in the NHL this year. Like, this is Canada. Everyone's on pace for either 40 goals or 100 points and is a Selke-level defensive player. Like, that's just what we're doing here. And Brad Marchand is in that list. And I actually thought his one game, he's deserving of coming back in. Like I thought he was great in his limited action. Kenny's water bottle. If it wasn't for hockey, would you be watching other Olympic events more or less? I'm definitely watching the overall Olympics more. Like I'm more invested because of the hockey. I'm obviously dialed into the hockey, but like I'm watching a lot. I've never watched this much curling at the Olympics, and maybe it's all my fault. Everyone's going to start yelling at me that we like suck at curling now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely more locked in now that like the men's hockey is a thing.
Yeah, interesting. Because I feel like I might actually be the opposite. I think I'm a little
Really?
bit. I think I would be watching more. Like you're saying that you're probably consuming more right now because of the hockeys, because you're
Like I'm
involved in the
watching
whole thing.
more of
I
the random
probably
sports
would be
too.
watching more because when the Olympics are on every single year, I try and have it on during all of my waking hours. So I don't think the amount of screen time that I would have would diminish if it was not for the Canadian Olympic men's team having NHL players on it. I don't think it really impacts how much I'm watching, how much I'm locking in for sure. But like I passively every single year or every 4 years, biathlon is on, alpine skiing is on, the luge is on. I got it all in. So, but in terms of actually like paying attention to the storylines, I feel like I might be a little bit more like big picture invested if it weren't if the NHL players weren't here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more on the side of I'm locked into everything.
What's your least favorite event to watch?
Oh man. Well, I just haven't watched it, whatever it is. Hold on. I need the list of the events, and I'll be like, that's
you know what mine is, and it's definitely a hot take, and like it's again one of those things. It's like I'm not trying to yuck someone else's yum, but figure skating doesn't do it for me. Ice dancing and figure skating don't do it for me.
I think I'd be with you on that. Like,
yeah, like I would much prefer watching the skiing, snowboarding events, the sledding events.
What about like luge and skeleton? Like
I don't mind them. I don't mind them at all. Actually,
after like
and I don't
runs,
love speed skating. I don't love speed skating either. I just find it a little bit.
That's a hot take.
Dry. I don't know.
The
short track speed skating, I'm a bit more into for sure.
Okay, the short track speed skating I tuned into I forget the guys. We had 2 Canadians in the final. And I tuned into it. First guy wipes out on like turn 2. Great. That's awesome. And then the second guy gets completely bumped out of and is someone, again, who's not dialed into these events. Like I'm no expert. I thought the bump was like, wow, disqualify that guy. And like, we'll be fine, right? Because like, no way that's legal. And then they're just like, no, it's fine. He lost because he got bumped. I'm like, what is going on? You could just body check people out of the way in short track speed skating?
Lightning McQueen in Cars, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Cinema draws parallels to real life.
Cinema. I don't know, man. It's short track speed skating is so chaotic, right? That it's just everything's happening. But I was locked in on the Canadian guy, and he got completely bumped out of the way, and I was like, is that legal? Like I don't know the rules for these events that I only watch.
That's kind of the beauty of it, is not knowing the rules.
Yeah, that I only watch every 4 years. I don't dial in. The luge and skeleton and all of these things, like they're fun to watch, but after like 2 runs, like they're all on the same track, and it's like, well,
yeah, no, that's fair. Like you're not getting like the variety of like, but I guess you could say the same thing about like the ski, like the moguls, stuff like that, where it's like, okay, dude, Mikhail Kingsbury won that gold today. We finally got a huge. Gold. Who better to get it than our opening ceremony flag bearer, Cinema. He's such an unbelievable, icon of the sport in Canada. But dude, that event probably the most insane one. Watching their knees, it's like, how do they not tear their ACL every 5 seconds when they're going down those moguls? And they do it and they do it and they do it. And all of a sudden, here comes a jump and they do a flip. And you're like, what's happening right now? It's just, oh my gosh, that's probably of all. I know like snowboarding big air where they're like on these like doing these massive things, like crazy. All of it's crazy. That's again, talk about the baseline of forwards for Team Canada is you're good. The baseline for these skiing, snowboarding, downhill events is that you're a psychopath. But I feel like the moguls, watching them like do this insane steep run, and then all of a sudden they do a flip and then they keep going, and you're like, that's probably the most insane one to me.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the knees. Like my knees hurt watching it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm so glad we finally won a gold. That was nice. I was so tired of seeing Team Canada post at the end of every night, Canada's medal count after day 7 of the Olympics, and it's like 0 golds, 3 silvers, 5 bronze. I'm like, come on, let's get it going here a little bit. And we did. Kingsbury in moguls, and yeah, that also is just like have skied before, and it's just such another level of like, if I did that, I would crumble very quickly. And so I would too if I was on the ice against Tom Wilson. Like everything is equal, right? So yeah, very fun. I'm definitely dialed into a lot of the Winter Olympics and like just the other sports, but the hockey, when hockey's on and like it's a good game, that is what I'm definitely dialed into. But Canada wins today by a score of 10-2 over France. They presumably lock in the number 1 seed. The USA is going to play Germany coming up in about 25 minutes here, 30 minutes. And as long as they don't win by 10, triggering another tiebreaker, Canada will finish as the number 1 seed, and the USA will have to play the 7 seed, the winner of the 7 versus 10 seed in the quarters. And currently Sweden is the 7 seed. So this was a big one for Canada to win that game. And Liz, I brought this up earlier, or no, I didn't bring this up earlier. The chat brought this up earlier, and now I want to bring this up now. Seth Jarvis's buddies. How about the interview during the game? Love it.
That's so funny.
They made it out there, Air Canada.
Yeah, I know one of the guys. So there's like a pretty big group of, and again, it's so funny, objectively hilarious that the entire nation is being subjected to like 01 St. Paul's High School boys, and like this is like my just life, right? It's so funny. But I know a couple of the guys, like, no, I'm not best friends with them. I'm not hopping on the plane with them to Italy or anything like that. But one of them coaches with the one of the ones that they interviewed coaches with the team that I've helped out with a little bit this year, coaches in the MJ and stuff. So it's really funny kind of seeing them in out of context. It's kind of like Leo DiCaprio meme sitting on the, you're like, that guy is so funny. But
I know
I know one of the guys who went to the Four Nations in that the SUV last year, and is getting some photos of the the celebrations after they won and stuff. It was very hilarious. So kind of on the periphery of that one, hilarious story. I know some people think it's a little bit tacky and everything, but you know what, I like, there's so many things that like become newsworthy that are like depressing or upsetting and all this different stuff. And like, I understand that everyone gets a little bit tired of white boys talking about hockey and stuff, but like at least it's a feel good story, and like so I'm here for it. I think it's fun. It's great to see people kind of get excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. And I do know a few of the guys as well. Matt McLeod, I played hockey with growing up and was a good friend with. I'm not hopping on the plane with them. I'm not that close with these guys, but I knew them many moons ago. And actually, Liz, as we wrap today's show, this is good. My dad sent me some photos as Seth Jarvis got named to the Winter Olympics team. The last time that NHL players were at the Olympics, you want to know what Seth Jarvis was doing? Getting beat off the rush by yours truly. My dad sent me this photo, and it's dated, I have it here, March of 2014. So literally a month after NHL players were last at the Olympics in February of 2014. This is what Seth Jarvis was doing.
You remind me of that Nelk Boys skit of the guy showing up at the rink, and he's talking to some dad. He's like, "Yeah, man, I played junior B. I made McDavid ice the puck once."
Yes,
and the guy's like,
me.
"Oh, nice, me. But that's you."
I made Seth Jarvis ice the puck once, probably. I don't know. I don't remember. But yes, the rivalries were crazy back in the day. The Twins and the Rangers, man, it was.
We're talking
crazy.
About Matthew Celebrini still playing for Team Canada in 20 years.
If Canada needs
still
me,
gonna be bringing up this photo in 20 years.
If Canada needs me, I'm just saying. I mean, this is proof. This shot probably went 4 feet wide, but
it's like a flick puck, like a lob off the ice, and like it's landed back on the ice by the time it even hits the net.
Exactly. But
and
anyways,
you know what?
yes.
I'm liking the shoulders on that release though. Like
nice,
that's good. That's clean.
My follow through is not high enough. Yeah, that's why I didn't go to the league, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyways,
actually, you hurt your knee doing moguls, and otherwise you would have made it.
No, short track speed skating. I got bumped out of the way, and that was actually my problem. No, 4 feet wide is being generous. Yeah, I knew this would be a.
That thing's got some curling spin on it, man. Like it's.
Yeah,
that's really funny. This is 2014.
2014, February of 2014.
That's really funny. That's really
Last time
funny.
NHL players were at the Olympics, I was playing against a guy who's currently on the team. It's crazy.
We're washed, man.
We're washed. Well, Seth has no clue who I am. I just played against him, but I know his buddies. So through that connection, I know a few of the guys that were out there, and it was great to see the interviews.
It's Winnipeg. Everyone knows everyone, right? If you ran into Seth on the street, he'd be like, I don't know who you are. And it'd take you about 30 seconds, and then you'd be like, oh, yeah, we know this person, that person, that person.
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
Hilarious.
So Matt McLeod, one of the guys in that kind of group, was probably playing with me on this team against Seth. And yeah, very, very surreal stuff. That's my guy. You know, like everyone has a story. You know, if I didn't blow my knee out, like you said, in moguls, I would have played against or played on a line with Seth Jarvis. It would have been a great story, like dual Winnipeggers tearing it up at the Olympics. No, not quite. But anyways, congrats to Seth. Congrats to the buddies for making it out there. Shout out Air Canada for putting it all together and sponsoring them and all of those things. Very, very cool stuff, and great to see that they made it. And it would have been awesome. They interviewed them right after Seth Jarvis had like his best chance of the game. Is if Seth like scored and it was like, we're here with it. Like it would have been a great moment. But
well, and it's so funny because like those guys, like they all know each other through hockey, I think, to a certain degree. So they played like junior, minor hockey, whatever sort of thing together. And it's so funny because like Kyle Bukoskis is like interviewing them, but like they're hockey boys at the end of the day. So like the play is going on. So the guy's like, yeah. And he's like trying to watch what's going on because it's like, man, I'm missing the game. So it's very funny.
Exactly. Well, anyways, that is going to do it for us on today's show. Canada beats France 10-2. Liz, anything else you want to say before we wrap today's show and move on to...
I do have something to say.
Oh, yes, you do.
Friends.
Nice little event.
Yes.
Let me find this graphic.
I'm so excited. Oh, thank you. You can pull that up. If anyone is interested, I am holding an event. I'm very, very excited. I've never kind of hosted an event sort of like this before, but the PWHL takeover tour is coming to Winnipeg in March. And I feel like a lot of the things I'm seeing in and around it, people getting excited, it's all about little girls and little girl hockey players and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but what about those of us who just like watching women's hockey and are big fans of women's hockey and stuff? And so I'm having an event on the night before the PWHL Takeover Tour, so Saturday, March 21st. And tickets are going on sale tomorrow. It's $15 to come to the event, and that includes the price of food. So you get food when you come, and we're going to have some panel discussions. It's going to be a really good kind of networking event. A lot of really cool people are coming. I'm going to have those kind of announced on my social media over the next couple of weeks to generate a little bit of excitement. So it's going to be super, super fun. Connor's going to come. I'm forcing him to, so he's going to be there. Yep. I'm going to be there.
I can't
a lot of people
Seth
that
Jarvis, I'll be there.
Seth Jarvis, I did send out the invite to him, but he is busy that day.
he's busy right now, so hasn't gotten back to us.
He's busy right now, but there's going to be some really cool people coming from different, some local folks as well as some other people who are coming in for the game who are going to be there. So it's going to be tons of fun. You're all invited to come. It's I'm kind of gearing it towards people who are interested in just getting a little bit more connected in the hockey space and stuff like that. So if you're interested in meeting some cool people, it's a really good place to be. So Saturday, March 21st, Next Door Restaurant in West Broadway. If you go to my social media, the links to buy tickets, the tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It's in there and my links and everything like that. So I'd love to see you guys all there. It'd be super fun.
Exactly. Yes. Next Door Restaurant, panel discussions, prizes available, business casual dress code. Get your dress code fired up and ready to go. Yes, I am excited. You're not dragging me there. I would come anyways. So thank you, Liz, for putting on this event. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to not only this event now that they know about it, but the PWHL takeover game happening in March. That will be an absolute blast. So looking forward to it. You got Ritz Kraka. He's in. He'll be there.
Carter, let's go.
Will be there.
Okay, amazing.
Let's go. Fired up. So yes, get your tickets. Lyss, go to @Lyss Houde. All the information is on her Twitter account. In between all of her viral Team Canada tweets, where she's seemingly going viral with every post, you can find somewhere deep down amongst the fame
I'll remember
the
you guys
link.
When I'm famous.
Exactly.
Don't
Don't forget us. But anyways, yes, Next Door Restaurant, great event. Really looking forward to it. So I'm glad that you plugged that, Lyss. Before we wrapped today's show. That's going to do it for us on WST Sunday Live. The women, when is their game again? I keep forgetting. There are too many games happening.
I honestly didn't even know that the men played on. I thought the men played on Tuesday, so I'm behind on my schedule. But
well, then I would assume it's Monday.
I think the women's because the whole thing was that they played against Finland and it ended up being a day before their first playoff game, and so people were kind of mad about that because of the norovirus. But they play tomorrow at 2:00 against Switzerland in the semi.
Sweet.
So
there we go.
Is Alina Mueller on that team? I feel like she should be. I don't know enough about what the non-rivalry series. Yeah, she's on that team. So one of the best players in the P. So I think it'll be a good one. So yeah, tomorrow 2:00, you and I will be watching that on our second screen at the Moose game.
Yes, Moose game, right.
Yeah, Moose game tomorrow. Moose are back in town. It's been fun to have them a game to watch yesterday. They kicked some butt against the Wranglers yesterday, which was great to have them while the Jets are gone. Thomas Milic at the AHL All-Star game this week, so that was really cool to see for him. And they're back in action tomorrow. I think it's Superhero Day is their theme game of the day. So the women's team plays at 2:10 and the Moose play at 2. So we'll be locked in.
I'll show up in a Macklin Celebrini jersey because that's my superhero.
Yeah, business casual dress code for my event. Superhero dress code for Moose game. Macklin Celebrini jersey.
It. Got the Celebrini jersey locked and loaded. Anyways,
so yes. Royal Sports, they're on sale if you want one.
Royal Sports. Also, Royal Sports. Name kits. Is this a jersey foul? We were going to wrap today's show, but I have a jersey that I got super cheap from the 2022 Olympics that I don't have a nameplate on, but it's very similar to the current one. It has the Olympic logo. I can even grab it. It's right here. Like, it's very similar.
I want to see it. The show can judge. We have everyone here. I'd like everyone's opinions on.
Hold on.
I'm the wrong person to ask for jersey foul stuff, but
my jersey foul question is if I put a Macklin Celebrini 17
on a 2022, yeah.
On this, like, it's the same jersey.
It is the same jersey. I say go for it.
Yeah, it's the exact
I think that's valid.
This is different. This is like a shoulder patch thing, which is different from the current one. Or sorry, this part. And then the stripes go all the way around on the back, which is unlike
which
the ones
they don't. Because they cut off. Yeah, I think it's
foul.
Valid. But if anyone were to ever call you on that, it's like that's a good conversation starter. Like it's like okay,
wow.
You know.
You know that the difference between the 2022 and 2026 jerseys. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm going down to Royal Sports today to get a name plate on this jersey.
Oh, so you already decided? You didn't even care my opinion.
No. No, not at all. I'm getting Jarvis 24. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go.
Either Celebrini. I see some people saying Crosby too. That's a good one, but I don't know. Maybe I will go with Crosby.
Connor and I have been talking about this. Connor's been kind of back and forth on what he wanted to do on the jersey. And after Macklin scored that first goal, you're like, man, you're leaning heavily towards it. And not that I make your decisions for you, but I make your decisions for you. But I texted Connor when Celebrini drew the penalty shot. I said, if he scores here, decision final. And,
bang. And he scored a nasty goal. So,
bang.
Yeah. And Cabela saying it's pretty close to current. Like, I think it's close enough that we'll let it slide. But anyways, this has been an absolute blast. We've gone for an hour and a half, as we usually do. We usually go from 9 to 10:30. But here we are at 1:48 on WST Sunday Live, closing out the show.
Some lunch, man.
I know, this is crazy. My timing's all thrown off. But thank you, everyone, for joining us on this late edition of WST Sunday Live. Really, really appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed the game today and hope you all enjoy the upcoming games, both for the Canadian women starting tomorrow in their game against Switzerland at 2, and then the Canadian men Wednesday, not sure the time, not sure the opponent, but lots of great hockey yet to come. And we will be back next Sunday at whatever time the gold medal game ends. Lyss and I will break down what happens in that one. But before that, we have a full week of Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up, except for Monday. Monday's a holiday, so not Monday. But Tuesday through Friday, 1 o'clock right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. I'll have to check with Huston Remus if we have a show Monday because I'm going to be honest, not 100% sure. But stay glued to our socials and we will let you know. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at this late edition of WST Sunday Live. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll talk to you this week on Winnipeg Sports Talk.